Hello and welcome to this special show on Rajya Sabha Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and here we take a stock of India's battle against COVID-19 pandemic. Now, one of the very important and significant aspects of this particular battle is tackling the infodemic. Now, infodemic is something which is caused by fake news, misinformation campaigns, and in a health emergency like the one which we are facing right now, this is really important and paramount that right kind of news and information reaches the masses and the public. So what exactly is the scenario and how is this infodemic or fake news misinformation campaigns are being tackled by our stakeholders? For more on this, we joined by a distinguished panel of guests. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Aditi Tandon, special correspondent with the Tribune. She keeps a regular tab on developments in the health sector and what exactly is happening specifically since the past few months on the COVID-19 and infodemic part as well. So Bimal Bhattacharjee is also joining us, social media expert, and we're also joined by Dr. R.K. Srivastava, former Director General, Health Services of the Government of India. Welcome all of you to Rajya Sabha TV. Let me begin with you, Aditi, first. And let's start by giving our viewers an account of what exactly are we talking about and what exactly are we dealing with. One clear example can be the statement which has been given by the Ministry of Home Affairs in Parliament just a few days ago, which says that it was because of fake news and misinformation campaign that the exodus of so many migrant workers happened from cities to the countryside. So one glaring example how fake news can play havoc.
Right, Vishal, it's a massive issue, and you would recall that the World Health Organization had to step in and declare that there is a parallel infodemic going on around the COVID pandemic, and the challenges are only mounting by every day. The reason is very simple, Vishal. A lot of the world and its people are quarantined at homes, which means that the generation of online news has increased and the frequency and intensity of online communications has increased. And let's not forget that all kinds of elements who generate false and fake news have an opportunity, as most of the world is in a very vulnerable situation right now. And so it's a fertile ground for people who generate and circulate fake news. Ever since the WHO declared that there are issues with respect to circulation of false information with respect to the pandemic, the governments across the world activated their law enforcement agencies. What I want to say in context of India is that you are right. The Home Ministry in Parliament only 2 days ago said that fake news also led to mass migration. And part of that is correct because that issue earlier came up in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court also came down heavily on certain state governments for not being able to control such elements, which were using the situation, vulnerability of the migrant people. Of course, the migrants should have been better provided, and before the lockdown was announced, arrangements should have been made to ensure that they travel back home safely. So that infrastructural gap was there. But then that was compounded by the fact that false information was being given to migrants. They were being told that the lockdown is going to go on for 100 days initially, which was not true. And there are false reports and fake news being circulated across states in India. Most recently, I would like to highlight the example of Punjab. Punjab had controlled the pandemic well in the initial phases of the COVID outbreak. But what is happening now is people are not coming forward for testing just because there are wild rumors going around in villages and in districts that harvesting of organs is going on. That if you go, they'll take you away, that the COVID pandemic is nothing, it's a hoax. The biggest fake news around COVID pandemic, which is that it's a hoax. A lot of people actually believe that it is not scientific. That's that's an obnoxious thing to say at a time when the pandemic is surging, and the World Health Organization's special envoy for COVID pandemic, David Nabarro, only 2 days ago, while briefing the British Parliament, has said in as many words that what you are going to witness is worse than a scientific fiction movie, and the worst is yet to come.
Okay.
So in such a situation, people need to realize that they need to look for very credible sources of information. The Press Information Bureau of the Government of India has set up something called the PIB Fact Check website. You just have to Google it, and any kind of myth or any confusion you have in your mind, you just post your query on this website. There is a icon which allows you to post your complaints and also queries, and they will quickly get back with clarifications. In fact, the Fact Check website has been trashing a lot of rumors, which has helped the country handle a lot of false information and reports.
Okay. Well, indeed, that particular website which you're talking about, Aditi, has been quite helpful in battling this particular aspect of COVID-19 pandemic, that is fake news. Let me bring in Mr. R.K. Srivastava here. Mr. Srivastava, from the health point of view, there is another aspect here as well, as in, fake news about the kind of remedies which need to be followed, the kind of health regimen which needs to be followed, or perhaps something which needs to be avoided or not to be avoided. Now this confuses the masses to a great extent. So if you look at that aspect, how would you see this infodemic part being how serious a problem in a pandemic situation like this?
Thank you, Mr. Dahiya. I think this is a very, very pertinent issue. Primarily, when we are having a evolving pandemic, where we do not know what course this is going to take, what are the standard treatment guidelines, what is the standard investigative procedures, what are the indications for hospitalizations, what are discharge protocol, what are the prevention strategy. There is a very huge gray zone of right scientific information, and if in that gray zone some type of information is being communicated through all these social media, that is acceptable. But as soon as we evolve in understanding the disease as we are now, if these type of informations are intentionally perpetuated forward with certain type of wasted motive, they are going to cause a lot of harm to the general population who consume them day in and day out by these type of accesses which is available through their mobile phone, through their internet, and they get misguided.
Okay.
Just like Aditi has said, that was the time when initially we were not understanding the thing. Now at this time, when we have understood, say at least about 40 to 50% of the disease epidemiology, if there is a misinformation which is going on, that COVID is nothing but an artificially created type of hoax by those persons who want to earn profit out of it, then it is a funny type of a statement, which this statement does not direct the major population to go for right treatment, meaning thereby suspect themselves when they become symptomatic, go for testing at the right place, go for isolation when it is needed, avoid contact, go for hospitalization. All those things are delayed.
Okay.
And it has been seen that it is happening. Similarly, at this time, when we are at a juncture when good number of vaccines are coming forward, in India also 2 or 3 vaccines are almost at the ripe stage, and we know it cannot be a herd immunity by automatic means. It has to be complemented and supplemented by a vaccination program. And if there are fake news saying that vaccine is not going to bring in any solution, we are not sure that by doing this fast tracking of the vaccine, we can cause a bigger health disaster as compared to what COVID has caused, then what we are doing. Sometimes we also say that you look at the time of H1N1, similar type of thing happened. So under these circumstances, what we are trying to do? We are trying to create a problem to the government when they plan to vaccinate the masses.
Okay.
Naturally, when the government is planning, will plan, say after about 6 months the vaccine comes and government decide to vaccinate all the health worker and high risk population. Then if they start resisting that we don't want to take vaccine, it happened at the time of H1N1 also. And with these type of fake news, with these type of unscientific information percolating in different type of social media, if the same problem comes to the government when they are having a countrywide mass vaccination program, then it at the end of the day, it creates a disaster. And we know very well that these information travel very fast.
Okay.
Their penetration is very deep.
So
They go down up to the
ultimately,
village
fake
ranges.
news and
So you can
misinformation
understand the problem which it can
defeats the
create
very
for the
purpose of
patient.
the work which is being done by, policy makers, strategists, or the health workers on the ground. Something you pointed out, Mr. Srivastava, really right, that, if at all these kind of fake news or misinformation campaigns go unchecked, then they will create a very, very difficult situation. We'll talk about what needs to be done there as well. But let me first look at the social media aspect. Subimal, social media platforms are, play a very important part here when we talk about dissemination of information or misinformation or fake news as well. They're being used by those mischievous elements, and then from there onwards, unscrupulous citizens as well, who tend to believe what fake news has been passed on to them. There have been some steps which have been taken by these social media platforms. But in a nutshell, if you look at it, how successful it has been, and what are the gaps which need to be plugged now?
Thank you, Vishalji. I think you rightly flagged it, that some steps have been taken by the social media fraternity, you can say. But the task at hand is far, far much bigger than, something that we all can do. It goes down to levels where you have to do a lot of work, which of course is tactical, as well as which is absolutely a kind of a long-term building exercise. You have just about 50 crores people in this country connected to the internet, and it's, say, less than half a mark, and we are progressing and going. So think of a situation when more people get into the medium. But coming to the context, basically, as you have seen, right from the time, specifically I can say towards the beginning of March till today, the activity around fake news around the pandemic, the efforts that has gone into try and control that, I think there has been some success, but there is a lot to be done. Now let us analyze some of these things, that what has been done, what could have been done.
Okay.
After the 31st March Supreme Court directions, the Home Secretary wrote to the states on the 1st of April, and also parallelly the PIB fact-checking unit, as mentioned by Aditi ji, was also started on the 2nd of April. Now, if you see, a lot of the state governments even took a lot of action against many of the perpetrators of this, fake news that goes around. See, in our country, a lot of this information is manufactured, around a lot of the age-old beliefs that we have had, often in conflict with what medical science would say. While some of them would be good, for example, you would have seen a lot of turmeric and ginger kind of suggestions. So I think, they wouldn't have been in any case harmful to anybody if they took it. But there would be many things that would be absolutely an anathema to what medical science would offer. So, and then of course, what comes through the internet, the device that we have today is more trustworthy than, what anybody, even our, parents or our family members say. The trust value of the device has increased so much because of its proximity. If you look at the social media angle, and the social media primarily are governed in India as intermediaries in the eyes of the law. So there is a law, the Information Technology Act, which can be used, of course, with all the other acts like the Indian Penal Code, etc. And an intermediary's role is just a facilitation. They don't get involved in the transmission, inception, transmission, and reception of any particular content. So it means that someone like you or me, we are either starting some kind of a fake news and getting it across, or we are simply forwarding it ahead. So some steps that a WhatsApp or a Facebook or Twitter all have done have made some difference, but the issue at hand is far much larger. The tendency to believe whatever is coming through a device, that's something that's definitely not going to go away. So that is where we need to work more closely. The government needs to work more closely with the social media fraternity, the organization. Now, most of the social media organizations are again, large American entities, and many times since past, even beyond the COVID-19 scenario, anytime you went to them, many of the times they would actually come up and say that they are bound by the laws of Southern California or something like that. So we had problems getting an immediate response from them on many issues. Possibly we have improved that, but there is a lot of gap. So as a result, the government was actually working on bringing out a new rules for intermediaries towards the end of 2018, but that has been delayed. And if that came in, the provisions there, and I would say that even without those rules coming in exactly in that form, even if we bring in some more specific steps, then they might make an impact. For example, you are not liable at this stage today if you are not involved in that, what I said, the inception, reception and transmission.
Okay.
But you have to have a certain responsibility. You are operating in this country when something like a pandemic and the fake news around can create havocs, because a large part of the people are using online devices right now, even as a new measure, because there's many other activities that they can do on online shopping, education, etc. So they have a responsibility, and we have to pin them down to larger responsibilities. And I think that is a governmental work as well as a civil society work that has to be improved and much more engaged.
Okay. Aditi, as Subimal is pointing out, and you started it by pointing out PIB's FCU, that is fact checking unit. So it looks like the stakeholders on their part have realized that there was a problem, and realized way back when it all started somewhere towards the end of March or the first week of April as well. Steps were taken also, but there are certain limitations. So what would you suggest from here onwards? Because we are still in the middle of this battle against COVID-19. It is far from over. We need to be really vigilant, and therein comes the most important aspect of ensuring that correct information reaches the people.
See, the primary responsibility of attaining information in such a situation, Vishal, lies on the people of the country. You cannot expect the government to do everything. As we all know, government systems are already overstretched. Hospitals are bursting at their seams, although some states are doing better. But as the cases are rising, we almost have around 96,000 cases today, and 97,000 we had yesterday. So people have to realize the gravity of the situation, and they have to know what information sources to use in order to bust any myth that they might have in their systems about COVID pandemic, about the virus. For instance, let me point out very routine myths that had initially been circulated when we were still battling the COVID pandemic. You remember how the newspaper industry came crashing down because people stopped buying newspapers. Now, the myth around newspapers was that the virus is being circulated because newspapers become a fomite, and on the surface of the newspaper you have a virus. Then it took a number of scientists to actually bust that myth. The government of India, through the health ministry, also clarified that there's nothing like that. You just have to sanitize your hands. Touching any surface can be, problematic. And the reason why the government has been repeating that you have to sanitize your hand hygiene, respiratory hygiene, masks and a distance of 2 yards was and remains the only social vaccine that we have against COVID pandemic till the time any vaccine comes. The second big myth, you remember, Vishal, was that if you wear shoes and come into the house after you go out, then you are bringing the virus into home. So you see, these kind of myths are very problematic. Also, the fact of the matter is there were many myths around wearing masks. Even today, people do not know which is the best situation to wear masks. For instance, Government of India has clarified that while exercising and while driving, you do not need to wear masks because, it can cause difficulty in breathing. And in the other situations where you are in a public place and you are surrounded by people, you have to wear a mask. So these myths continue to circulate in the environment, and it's our responsibility. We have to, a good source to bust your myths is a Mythbuster column, which is very easily accessed on the WHO website. Because the WHO had declared it an infodemic, the fake news around COVID. So you just have to go, people should go and visit the Mythbuster column on the WHO homepage and call for Mythbusters and look at what are the prevalent myths around COVID-19 and educate them. Information is power in times of a COVID pandemic, which is still surging, and every government is struggling with it. For almost 1 year, everybody has predicted that this is not going to go anywhere. The second thing is, people think herd immunity will develop suddenly.
Okay.
That was a myth which in the US also a lot of people were thinking, but in a country like India, such a vast population, Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan had recently said that herd immunity cannot be a strategic option for India, and people have to practice COVID appropriate behavior.
Okay.
People must understand that.
Okay, so definitely it's all about individuals looking for a right kind of information from credible sources, and then ensuring that others also understand that part of information. Mr. Srivastava, in your views, as an individual, as citizens, what is it that can be done apart from what Aditi is pointing out to ensure that we do our bit in putting a stop to this vicious cycle of fake news or infodemic?
I think Aditi has made it very clear that at present juncture, in a country like India, with a huge population, and the disease as such is somewhere between phase 2 and phase 3, at different places it is almost a community spread like of thing. We should try to realize that the masses who are being exposed to such type of infection, their capacity to imbibe and readdress the problem through the various channels which we are talking over here now is very limited. Under these circumstances, there are certain options which are available with the government. Option number 1 is utilize all those channels, all those type of access point by which an educated, friendly citizen to the social media can have access and find out the right information. The second is use its infrastructure which is spreading down up to the village, maybe Panchayati Raj, and try to utilize it so that it becomes a mouthpiece of communicating the right information. Third thing is that India is not managing the disease only by allopathy. India has got multiple type of pathies in India, and when a disease comes which does not have a sure shot cure in the allopathy, other so-called pathies comes up and try to get their share of the business out of it. So different type of myths are percolated. Under these circumstances, the third approach with the government should be that they should try to promote what particular area of action is meant for saving the life with allopathy, with Ayurveda, with Unani, with homeopathy, and with various type of other pathies which are available over here. And if we do all these type of things at a massive level, then it is action of a good COVID-friendly behavior by the majority of the citizen, as well as action by the government in a proactive manner, will definitely bring a better result in containing and controlling the COVID-like situation, as well as avoiding the mishap on account of the various misinformation which is percolating here and there. And I can assure you that we will never be able to stop 100% misinformation through the social media. It will happen. But let us try to make effort that it remains minimum.
Okay, so efforts have to be made continuously from both sides, the stakeholders as well as the citizens. Let's have concluding comments from Subimal before we bring this discussion to an end. Subimal, in your views, the way forward, we know the challenges, we know the limitations, and everybody has a role to play here.
Yeah, as Dr. Srivastava has said, I think we need to reach out more. I think, we must use all the resources at our disposal at this point of time to go to every level. I would still like to say that, in very many of the rural areas, the level of, carefulness is maybe far much better than many of the urban areas that we see. I think the whole concept of, masks and hand sanitizers, social distancing, these things, by now people have understood, but then there is a casual approach that still happens in a lot of people. These are some of the things that, as citizens, everyone has to do. And very many times it's like that, box of cigarette where you see that cigarette smoking is injurious to health, yet still a lot of people smoke, yet a few people pull away by seeing that. So I think somewhere like that, when we go down regularly with ads and messaging, it impacts and it's consciously and subconsciously, taken in by many of us. Okay. The other aspect is, of course, the whole, infrastructure, the social media ecosystem, where we have to even go further and try and pull down or limit this kind of activities. PIB fact-checking unit is one aspect. Many of the state police forces have upped their, cyber capabilities, have been arresting people and all. But they have a certain level of deterrence. They don't become, something that really moves out. And a lot of people who still would believe, many of these myths that go around. So we have to live with a mix of everything. But at the same time, that seriousness with which we have to follow as individuals and society some of these steps, I think we have to get that message.
Okay, definitely. Getting the message across is really, really important. Thank you, Subimal out there, Dr. Srivastava and Aditi as well, for sharing your views and time on this very important aspect of the battle against infodemic during the COVID-19 pandemic. As our panelists are pointing out, while the stakeholders, the institutional stakeholders like the government departments, the law enforcement agencies and the social media platforms, as well as other professionals are doing their bit in, to try and ensure that fake news is handled, tackled and fought as well. Misinformation campaigns are brought down. As citizens, it is our responsibility as well, and we are also a very important stakeholder in this entire game to break this vicious circle of fake news. The first and foremost thing we can do is, whenever we have an information, let us make some effort, try and verify it from credible sources of information, and then only pass it on. Thank you so much for watching Rajya Sabha Television. We'll come back again with a different topic. Till then, keep watching.